How are you all doing? I'm excited. I'm very excited to start this. Um, you're good, more or less? Well, I hope you're more good. And I hope that you get even more good. You know what I mean? Like, thank you, Robin. Doesn't it look good? Junie did such a good job with it. I'm so happy with how it turned out. Aw, hey, Corey, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. I'm glad you like. I'm glad everybody likes it. Junebug did such an amazing job. I cannot recommend her enough. Everything just ugh, so good. So good. More good than that. That's good. Oh, that sucks, Robin. I hate when work does that. The nice thing about the nice thing about working as a student is that my job very much respects that I am a student, and when I say I can come in, I can come in, and when I say I can't, I can't. Hope you're doing well, everyone. I am so excited. So just to clarify my thoughts on case 5 of the last game, I won't go too heavy, even though this game will almost certainly expect for you to have played the previous one. But I won't go too heavy in case you're just here to say hi and dip. Um, I thought that the last case of the game was good. I thought that the culprit was a little underwhelming, but I see it in the big. I'm choosing to see it in the bigger picture of of setting it up, setting the stage for this game. And I am so excited to be able to finally experience these games. I've said it before. I waited 6 years for the first game, and it did not disappoint me in the slightest. The nice thing about these games is that they are completely independent from the rest of the series. The Great Ace Attorney 1 and 2 are super prequels that take place like 100 years in the past, so you don't need to know anything. These could be your first Ace Attorney games. Of course, most people probably would like to play some of the easier ones uh, before getting to these ones, but it's a thing that you could do that if you wanted to, and I don't think you'd run into any problems. Other than maybe the occasional reference being missed. I can think of one reference that you might not get. And even then, it's just, whatever. It's not even a big thing. But yeah, anyway, like I said, I waited so long because when did Greatest Attorney 2 come out? Was that 2018, 17, 19, 20? I think it was 17 or 18, 2017. Oh wow, the latency must be really low. Wow. Yeah, anyway. So yeah, I did this so hey Claxy, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm just giving my little pre-thing speech here. Just so you guys know, for the next probably 3 weeks, this stream, the next one, and the one after that will probably be on Sundays instead of Fridays, specifically because my Fridays are booked for the next 2 weeks. I'm gonna be home next week, this coming Friday, so I would rather spend time with my family than stream for another many hours. Um, and then the week after that, I'll be on Junebug's channel with Ace Fangirl, Junie herself, and Sarah Bear playing Monster Prom at 6:30 Pacific time, so 9:30 Eastern for any of you people in my zone. So that's the thing. So I'll adjust my little schedule on Twitch if anybody reads that, but I did not remember to do that before the stream started. So that's fine. Press any key. Can I just hit continue? Is that okay? This is a new game, I think, so... You're having a... Okay, I can't hit continue. What do I hit? Select adventure? I see... Oh, go back. Okay. How do I go back? Literally, how do I go back? Oh, exit game. No, that'll... Oh, it's select adventure? Okay. Oh. The Great Ace Attorney 2 Did this one have a caption? Adventures and Resolve. Okay. Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. So I cannot guarantee that my voice is fully fine after the last 8-hour marathon. 8 hours is the longest stream I've ever done, by the way. I just want you all to know that. And it was a thing. So, you know, if my voice sounds a little bit on the different side, it's okay. I feel fine. Feel good. I just had some very spicy drunken noodles, so you know, the world is a little bit weird right now because no. Like, we'll see how this goes. New game. The trial, Klaxi. Just the trial. Hey, West.
Standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over the vast ocean.
It's so pretty.
Those days in London seem like a dream. But I do miss my time in England's vast capital. You know, he's flourished into a truly wonderful lawyer. I've no doubt that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court. Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you. My life has been such a whirlwind since I returned. And no one could have predicted what has happened. Just 2 months after arriving home. So I came here today to ask something of you. Tomorrow, I shall be standing in court. For the only time in my life. As a lawyer.
Oh. I'm gonna have to change the name of the stream, huh? Oh.
So please.
Oh my god.
I ask for your guidance. Kazuma-sama.
I miss him. I'm gonna have to change the title. I'll do that in the highlights. Thank you, Klaxi. I appreciate it.
Just wanted to drop a sub before you get into the thick of it and need to concentrate.
Appreciate it.
I'm new in town.
Brett Cinder, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate it. Wow, that took a long time to type out. 13th August, 8:26 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendants Antechamber 1. Hold on 1 second. Just...
Dad, what's that?
I don't know, son, but it's got great, big nuts! Hot, salty nuts! Who wants some?
Thanks, Flark. Just gonna... There we go. I updated the stream title. Oh, to the thing? Oh no, I hadn't changed it yet. Sorry about that. I like the hot salting. I would add a variation, I think, is what I would do. Anyway. Here I am again after 9 months. The Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. Fair enough, Westford. Thank you for stopping by. I feel so nervous, but I must steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself. Ah, good. You're here. It doesn't do for a lawyer to be late. Oh, yes, good morning, sir. I hardly recognize you. You cut a fine figure, Counsel. But you look as white as a sheet, and those wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. I thought the grave was his, honestly, in the opening cutscene. Oh dear. The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous, I feel utterly nauseated. I almost wish that I'd never been born. Goodness, not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say. Eugene Mikotowa, professor of medicine at Imperial Yume University. A man who, earlier in his life, traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advances in forensic medical science. And of course, my brilliant father. Excuse me. Who's it gonna be? Is it somebody we know? What if it's somebody we know? What if it's Soseki? That'd be funny, right? Because he's in Japan right now. Oh no, okay, never mind. Don't... If Soseki comes back, I don't want to hear it. Would I be correct in thinking that you're gonna be my lawyer in court today? Oh, yes. Yes, that's right, miss. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. It's a complete fabrication. The whole thing. Oh, my lord. Oh, lord, it begins. This is the best name yet. This is top tier. Ray Membami. How would you actually pronounce that? Like, is it Ray Membami? Or is it like... Where is the stress? Membami? Ray Membami. We're in the same year as I and my greatest friend. Though unusual for a woman in our time, she works in the university research laboratory, helping my father. I can't do a lot of girl voices, y'all, so please forgive me. And sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial. Accused of committing a truly awful murder. Are you feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem, well, have become a little flushed. Oh my, well, it's just that... You look so gallant and dashing. Sorry? And when I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful. Maybe I'll do Valley for her. I need something. Goodness, I don't think she knows. She hasn't realized who I am. It would seem our little plan for this trial is going to work. Oh, what do you mean, Professor Mikotoba? If even your best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we can relax. Disguise? Yes, I've never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But this does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father. Father? What? Is that you, Susato? I'm sorry I didn't say something sooner, right? No, what are you doing? What's going on? What? That varsity uniform, that varsity cap, that varsity cape, that varsity badge. Look at you. You look for all the world just like a student of the Imperial Yume University, a male student. I got like a Mulan situation going here, huh? I'm glad you think so. It means all my preparations have been worthwhile. I woke at 4 in the morning to make a start. But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? Well, you see... It was the only way. The only way she would be permitted into the Supreme Court to take on your defense in this trial. My defense? Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated at having been born into this body. Courts in Japan are barred to women. We're not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom, despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to all people, male and female alike. But women are forbidden. just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door. Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door. So that I can act as your lawyer. Oh, Susato. You go to such lengths for me? Of course, you're my greatest friend. I just worry that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve. Oh no, I have complete faith in you. Ray. It's so strange, though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already. And yet, just because you're a woman, what a wretched reason. I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing. Ray. Please don't look at me like that, with those flushed cheeks and doting eyes. Do we have a lesbian on our hands? Oh, I'm cool with that. We support. Oh, I'm sorry, it's just, you really do look so dashing. Yes, you mentioned that once or twice. Ha 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 ha! You should be pleased, it means you look convincing as a man. I am pleased, I think. It certainly helped to bolster my confidence today. Ray, you're managing to put on a brave face in all this, but I can see through it. I've noticed how your shoulders are slumped and how you're trembling ever so slightly. Susato. You do believe me, don't you? I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder? Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right? Yes. Yes, it is. Perfectly clean. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence. Which is why I'll stand beside you until the bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side. Because that's what it means to be a defense lawyer. This is so cool. That means so much to me, Susato.
Defendant, counsel, court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once.
I wish I could remember the voices from the 4 episodes of Full Metal Alchemist I've seen. I was Brotherhood, so I don't know, it might not be the same, but...
You should go in at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty.
Oh. Stand aside! I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast.
Well, Susato, you certainly surprised your father. Going to such lengths to be admitted into the courtroom and with no prior experience of being a lawyer.
There was simply no other way. That's all there is to it. Father, you haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming Ray doesn't know how it came to this?
Yes, quite right. I've kept that information from her. It would only worry her if she found out that no other lawyer would agree to take her case. I didn't want to burden her with that.
And is it true? The reason why every other lawyer is refusing to take the case? Is it really because of who the victim was? Oh, it was that girl whose name I can't remember.
We should be making a move now, too. As you know, law isn't my field, but I'll do what I can to support my student.
Thank you, Father. Is it Giselle Brett? That's what it was. But like Giselle, J-E-Z-A-I-L-L-E, so it's like Jezai Brett. But she's British, so it's not pronounced like that. I'm Susato Mikotova, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain. But now, 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. I'm glad Dad's doing well. I thought he died. How many times have I wished that he were here, I wonder. Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself for the trial ahead. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san.
You.
I'm glad this song is back. I love this song.
This court is now in session. This court is now in session to hear the trial of Ray Membomi.
The prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency. Oh, she looks good.
Defense counsel, are you ready? Yes, Your Excellency, we are ready.
Ready. Should I, like, change her voice to make her sound more like, what, like, you know, like, more like she's pretending to be a man? Should I, like, make her try and do a lower voice, do you think?
Ah, yes, counsel. According to your registration details, your name is, Ryutaro Naruhodo. Is that correct?
I'm not much of a voice actor, huh? Don't think it's needed? Okay. We'll see. I'll think about it, but I think for now I'll give her the voice that I've been giving her for the series. Sorry? Which to say is just a more nasally version of my current voice.
Oh yes, I had to come up with a suitable male name for you on this little venture. So I'm afraid to say I simply put down the first name that sprung to mind. Well, counsel?
Yes, that's right. That's me. Yes, I am Ryutaro. He who has vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan.
Seems Ryutaro may need to consider how better to uphold his manly act first and not overdo it. And those wild, wide eyes aren't doing any favors either. Ah, just relax and listen.
Naruhodo? A fresh face in this courtroom if I'm not mistaken. But the name Naruhodo, would that perchance be?
You may be thinking of Ryunosuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain as part of a study program.
I mean, it's not paramount. If I find him, I find him, but if not, it's no big deal. For a game like this, I'm not particularly, invested in achievement hunting. Hey, Blue, how you doing?
This is,
His cousin.
That's right. Ryutaro here has been studying in the provinces, but was called to the capital for this trial.
Doing alright, thank you.
I assure you, in matters of law, his knowledge rivals that of any of Tokyo's preeminent lawyers.
Any of them. Tut tut tut. What a pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused has had to call in a country boy. How dare you! Oh, well, Susato is every bit as gallant and dashing as any of your Tokyo attorneys. I won't have you making fun of her. Her? Oh, well, I think Valley Girl was the right voice. I have not, Blue. I've spent this afternoon writing part of a literature review, so very busy. Please be careful, Ray. What an unrefined tomboy we have here. But I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide, skittish eyes very much suggest that he is not. I'm so nervous. Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand what Naruhodo-san goes through. Oh god, same. Like it or not, oh, here we go. Like it or not, eyes are wont to flit.
Case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national interests. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may well affect the very future of our empire.
Just like the trial 9 months ago. And yet, for proceedings of such importance, we have this unknown yokel by the dock? Dear me. It's, yeah, Blue, it's Susato posing as Ryu's cousin because he's not in the country and no other lawyer would take the case, and women aren't allowed to be in the courtroom unless, you know, women aren't allowed to act as lawyers in this time period in Japan. Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense to determine whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom. 9 months ago, when a certain other Naruhodo stood where you're standing now, this same judge tested him as well. And even though he was just a student at the time, not even of law, he passed the test with flying colors. For a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this will be easy. So, Counselor, do you consent to answering some simple questions? Alright, it's time to prove myself. Oh, she's got a little errors and everything. It's so cute! Have a good night, Klaxi. Thank you so much again for the sub. I appreciate it. Yes, Your Excellency. But please do make them simple. Very well. To start with, you will state the name of the victim. Phew, that is simple. I couldn't forget that if I tried. What's the matter? Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else Naruhodo-san works through. Like it or not, minds are wont to blank. It's not surprising, really. It's your first time in this position, and in that guise. Even a bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter a little under the circumstances. What a supportive dad! Oh dear, this is a dismal failure. Don't fret. You need only use the knowledge you've gained as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem. Of course, the court record. Yes, the answer will be amongst all the key information about the case in the court record. That's right. Just use E to open the court record. Then you need to flip to the people section with E. And don't take too long over it. His Excellency is watching you closely. Alright, check the court record with E. That's where the information I need will be. Just for the hell of it. $16.43. Ugh. You know, honestly, he's got the Apollo Justice era pain look going on right here. He just got a little thing right here. I'm waiting, Counselor. What is the name of the victim in this case? I wish it was Taketsuchi Aochi, honestly, but it's Giselle Brett. I also wish it was Giselle Brett. Yes! Aww. Oh my god, it's like the same thing. This is so adorable. The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Giselle Brett. Giselle Brett? A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure. Correct. And being a member of our Empire's judiciary, you will be well aware of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another question. A simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Yes, she was the killer in the first case of the last game, Bluecoin. Why then is her name indelibly associated with our own Empire's judicial history? Obviously, you won't have forgotten that case from 9 months ago, but if it's proving hard to recall the finer points, everything you need is included in the court record. Obviously, I still remember. That was the start of everything. Giselle Brett, behind the woman's student persona, was the face of our killer, Queen Victoria herself. Okay, so that confirms this is Victorian England. Well, it will be Victorian England when we get back to England. 9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University was killed, and the culprit was Giselle Brett. Yes, she was a killer. And that prosecutor over there, I believe, was quite the simp, even debasing his own language and culture for the sake of getting some.
At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain, and it was in the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John H. Wilson, was shot dead. I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor... Oh.
Shit, the whole time?
Oh, this is the jet. I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor Nikotova. Yes, I was indebted to the man. He'd been my mentor when I went to London to study forensic medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter the government wished to resolve rapidly. Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court. A student of the Imperial Yume University was arrested on suspicion of murder. A second-year English language student by the name of Ryonosuke Naruhodo. With the help of his best friend, a student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense and exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Giselle Brett. Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life, she gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached its conclusion.
Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its consular jurisdiction into play. We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. It was decided that she would be removed to Shanghai, China instead.
Why Shanghai?
There's a British consular court there. Correct. I oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon only last week. All that remained of our empire's obligations was to see the woman safely on board a steamship.
And yet, the very day before her departure, the Englishwoman was killed.
Only the day before? Wow.
That will do. I'm satisfied that the counsel for the defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Thank you, Your Excellency. Over the first hurdle, onto the next 60,000.
Now, a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Archie?
As is your wish, Your Excellency. The repugnance crime took place on the 11th August in broad daylight. On the outskirts of the Imperial capital, under a bright blue sky, a secluded bathing spot by the area, which I was scoping out because you know. The incident occurred inside a small beach hut erected for bathers to rest or change their clothes. I myself related to that beach hut. The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung. An injury which proved fatal. There were two persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett in her bathing attire, and the accused, Membami, Ray Membami. Accordingly, there can be no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when we consider she had a powerful motive. The police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady.
Well, that extraordinary description of events leaves me somewhat lost for words, I must say.
That's certainly true. The prosecution's summary was full of words that raise an awful lot of questions. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel.
I don't know. I was too busy making jokes about how Ouchie is a simp for Brett, but...
Oh lord, here we go. First question already. I don't know. What is this powerful motive? I need to know. You're clearly exaggerating. Powerful motives is a blatant overstatement.
Tut tut tut. Is the yokel boy using long words because he doesn't fully understand?
I beg your pardon?
No matter. Let us put this to the accused, shall we? Membami-san, you are a research assistant at Imperial Yume University, I believe. Yes. Yes, I am. I'm working with Professor Mikotoba in his laboratory at the moment.
I can confirm that. The defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility.
Fascinating to hear. Now another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikotoba, whose research were you assisting then? Oh, I was studying under Dr. John H. Wilson.
Dr. Wilson? The visiting English professor who was murdered by Miss Brett 9 months ago?
This judge looks so different from like any other judge. I'm like, what do I do?
The accused had a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true?
Yes, Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man.
Interesting. Then tell the court what deep-seated feelings you had towards the Englishwoman who killed him.
Well, obviously I was filled with hatred for what she'd done. A powerful hatred. Oh no, Ray, be careful what you're saying.
Oh boy. The motive was revenge. Plain and simple, Your Excellency.
Well, it was clearly a trap all along.
How wicked of him to use Ray's underlying respect for her former mentor against her like that. I must find out the details and something we can use to bolster our defense. As a lawyer... Oh, it's multiple things. Okay. I don't know. Find the bathing spot. He probably knows a lot about it. If I may, Prosecutor Alchi.
What do you want, you fresh-faced young yokel student?
My god. This dude. I cannot with this man. Engages in casual racism against his own people for the sake of a woman who is like half of his age. And now is a classist. My dude, this guy reminds me of that dude, the dude in the Ten Commandments who is, the annoying guy. I forget his name, Dathan or something? He reminds me of Dathan. I wonder, could you explain, please? You mentioned bathing spots.
My apologies. Clearly my modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind. Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practices from the West. We are told that bathing in the water of the ocean is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skin.
No, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, to all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea?
For old time's sake, I believe.
Sorry?
Miss Brett was to depart for Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day at our country's wonderful coast. And the British Embassy put in extreme pressure on our government to comply.
But on what grounds would we agree to such a request?
Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal.
Don't look at me, Professor. It was the government who granted permission, not I. I merely would have gone along with it. In any case, it was decided that with a dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong.
What, Hosonaga? But in fact, a murder took place.
I said, don't look at me. It was that young student girl who did it, not I. I only would have helped.
No one has proved that yet. No, wait, no, you wouldn't have helped. I only would have defended her. That's what I meant.
I wouldn't provoke the man if you don't need to.
At this stage, I need to gather more information, I think. The lawyer. Yeah. Being alone together. Membami-san. Yes, what is it, Naruhodo-san? I'm really starting to wish we'd made my alias Ryutaro Suzato. Please tell the court why you were present at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place, Moira, and why you were alone with her? Oh, well, no, that's not true. It wasn't like that at all. There were other people present, a detective who's guarding Miss Brett for starters. I was just asked to accompany Miss Brett as a companion, that's all. I kind of forgot to do the ballet voice.
But let us be clear. At the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You and no one else. The truth is, there is only one reason why this young woman accompanied Miss Brett on her bathing sojourn. It was the accused's last chance to take the victim's life.
No!
Because, as we know, the following day would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again.
Kindly refrain from conjecture, Counsel.
Sure.
I believe we have a clear picture of the incident now. Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett managed to avoid incarceration, instead continuing her research work at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have encountered each other on a number of occasions.
Seeing the murder of the mentor for whom she had such great respect enjoying such undeserved liberty.
Yes, even if it was only temporary until Miss Brett's extradition to Shanghai. You can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of anger and resentment.
Poor Ray.
So, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Kim.
Will you be so kind as to peruse this exhibit? A photographic print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident.
Yeah, it didn't look so bad. She'll live. Yes, thank you, Counsel. A tragic image. Not go that far.
As you can clearly see, there's no one within the hut that anyone else could have hidden.
The court will accept this photographic print as evidence.
Photograph the crime scene, cool.
As I understand it, then, the victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach hut at the time. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant.
Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to its case.
What, you got like a witness or something? The detective?
We intend to prove the accused's appalling actions beyond all possible connection. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence.
Witnesses? But who? She was alone. Okay, but you're probably the detective.
One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police detective. I assure you, the testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubts.
Very well then, Counsel. Bring forth your witnesses.
I, Taketsuchi Ouchi, have been waiting for this moment.
Sorry?
Oh yes, I haven't forgotten. That trial 9 months ago, here in this very courthouse, when that irreverent little student boy utterly humiliated me,
Which is why you're sweating now? You've been waiting for this moment so you could sweat some more? Is that what's going on here? Oh, it is a new hairdo. Look at you. You rocking the new do, girl. Well, this is the old do, but like, oh man. What, yes?
This is insult to the Ouchi family name. Will never be forgotten.
You've become conceited with age, Counsel. But the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. Oh, right. That's what happened.
Strike the head of a samurai whose top knot has been cut, and the bell of cultural enlightenment tolls. Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died.
Your present self couldn't die too, dude? Come on. The start of your own mini Meiji revolution. Are you modernizing as well, Counsel?
Silence! Since I swore revenge back then, there has been a minor miracle atop my head. Observe the ouchy growth.
Okay.
You see the seed of hope sprouting forth from the barren expanse of my crown? I think that tiny growth is trying to tell me something. I'm afraid I can't really see. Where is the hope exactly? I said silence. Today I face another yokel student of the Naruhodo clan. Well, I will vanquish you. And my victory will be fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned. With that, the prosecution calls the witnesses to the stand.
It looks like the stakes are high on both sides in this trial. The prosecution and defense each has much to lose.
Haircut is hardly comparable to Ray's life.
Tell her, girl. I mean, man.
My boy, look at you back. Is he wearing like swimwear or something? Oh, look, it's so sick. Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court.
Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can go on. And I am, well, the next big thing in books. An author renowned throughout the capital, in fact. Yes. Soon to be sold out, the satirical I Am a Cat, a sensational success by Suzeki Natsume.
Oh my goodness.
Struggling student from the provinces, please. You needn't be in awe of me.
I needn't?
It's only natural that you feel nervous in my presence, but all of you, please relax. Call me Sozeki even.
Yes, and Suzeki Natsume is a real author. I love that that's something that they just adapted for this.
Yes. What on earth is Sozeki-san doing here?
Tread carefully, Suzato. That author fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are, this will be over before it's begun.
Yes, of course, I know.
I presume Suzeki-san won't have forgotten about me.
I could certainly never forget him. Although he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so that it's been since I last saw him. And as for Inspector Hosonaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe.
Do I have something on my face?
Well, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you see. Thank goodness he doesn't recognize me either.
Ah, I suppose it's this disguise, is it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimony flawlessly. Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present, but what business did a writer such as yourself have being at the scene, Suzeki-san? Ah, well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture. On the morning of the incident, in the Imperial Yume University's Grand Lecture Hall.
At Yume University?
After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the Medical Science Department. The professor over there, in fact.
With Professor Mikoto?
Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted some story about 2 former students who'd studied in Great Britain. Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leave me alone. They secretly spy, snapshots, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy. As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read it at your leisure, my provincial struggling student friend. I have plenty of copies.
Thank you very much. Look through that paper at me. That's my article. Okay.
He's so much more confident now. I'm actually kind of happy for him. Although he is a bit vain.
Anyway, following my interview with the professor, the lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. Those were her words.
As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory under strict surveillance, of course.
At which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance. And the response was, permit Miss Brett to go as long as a detective accompanies her.
That detective I am at liberty to divulge was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga.
Thereby, the entire party departed cordially for the seaside, it seems.
It was extremely challenging to clear all the other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach.
Still got that bloody cough, though?
Oh, no? But fortunately, I'm at peak physical fitness at the moment, so... Nope, you do. Okay. I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly.
Oh my, Inspector, you... Well, you do have something on your face now.
Ah, how unsightly. I do apologize.
Does that mean you went to the beach too, Father?
No. Fortunately, I had work to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it meant that as my assistant, Ray was invited to take my place. Of course, being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation. Ah, but if only I had, I'd never have seen that awful sight. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret.
Sure. Of course you were focused on the fact that Miss Brett was relentlessly racked, dude, just like Ouchie over there.
Very well, I must now ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all that you witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast. Of course, Your Excellency. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret, Hey, the witness scene.
You know, honestly, I was kind of interested to see if there would be, like, a Justice for All situation where they just change all the music. I'm kind of glad that's not the case. Even though I grew to love the soundtracks for the later entries in the series, it's nice to have some consistency and grounding in what I am used to.
On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in this disguise. I just managed to catch that crab when I suddenly heard a caterwaul from behind me. I ran to the beach hut at once, where I found the pair in question. Yes, that young girl was astride the Englishwoman, dagger in hand. He stabbed wildly.
I think I already know what's wrong here. Yeah, it gives it a one big game feel, too, because that's what I'm considering this as, is one 10-case game.
I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she'd stabbed the victim multiple times.
What? I thought she stabbed her once.
Indeed, it does appear from this testimony that both witnesses here present saw it. The very moment of this heinous crime.
What?
Now, if you will recall, I promised evidence as well. What phrase did I use again? Ah, yes, this was it. Damning evidence.
What have you there, Counsel? A so-called fountain pen, is it? Correct, Your Excellency. I found it at the scene whilst examining the body. It appears that in her dying moments, with her final ounce of strength, the victim clutched a piece of evidence that would positively identify her killer.
What? Oh, this trope again.
Your Excellency, if you would cast your eyes over to the photographic print of the crime scene once more.
Ah, goodness me. Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberately there in her hand. That's right, the fountain pen. And if you would kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency. Ah, the owner's initials have been engraved into the ebonite barrel. RM.
What? Oh, Raymond Mommy.
The initials of the defendant.
Ah, no! It's so cool how her mannerisms are exactly like Ryu's.
This fountain pen will be admitted immediately as critical evidence.
The fountain, yeah.
Oh, have I omitted anything?
Yeah, I don't know, the soul.
Decisive testimony and damning evidence. There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather to ascribe guilt, I feel.
I agree with you, Robin. I don't understand. The prosecutor Ouchie had 9 months ago, and had none of this man's poise.
Counsel for the defense, you may begin your cross-examination now. Now to vote.
Naruhodo. That means... Oh, yes, me.
Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom?
Actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom.
Cousin Ryotaro, pull yourself together, please.
Alright, I've seen this countless times as a judicial assistant. Well, 4 times. Find inconsistencies in the witnesses' testimonies to prove that they're lying somehow. That's all there is to it. That's how a real lawyer would handle a cross-examination. So let's see what I can do.
Hold it!
In that jaunty disguise?
Correct. Wait, no. I mean, it wasn't the first time I've worn the swimsuit for a dip in the ocean. It's tried and tested. Do what must be done to keep the English woman under surveillance. Those are my orders that day.
And this tried and tested outfit was the answer?
Being able to blend flawlessly into a crowd is an important part of a detective's job. Aww. I submerged myself in the salty water, leaving only Mr. Turtle floating inconspicuously on the surface. Mr. Turtle loves the water.
But there was no need for you to blend into the background on this assignment, really, was there?
If that made you late arriving on the scene, I think perhaps you had your priorities wrong.
Perhaps I shouldn't pursue this line of questioning any further at the moment.
I just...
Hold it!
Ah, you're describing the victim's scream, presumably, Sasaki-san?
In more literary terms, you might say it was a scream that could have pierced the heavens. Yeah. Or the like. Of course, that's just a metaphor. We renowned authors are wanted to describing things, so...
Sasaki-san wasn't at all like in England.
Anyway, I spun around the noise and the beach hut immediately fell under my gaze.
Yes, beach hut.
The area is popular with government ministers. Many have seaside retreats there for rest and recuperation. Locals are prohibited from entering the area, so it's always very quiet. The beach hut is a simple structure, erected as a place for people to change or take refuge from the sun. Although, the Englishwoman commandeered the hut for herself. Which meant that I was forced to change to my swimwear on the sand.
Ah, I imagine that was rather embarrassing for you.
Well, anyway, moving on. Well, anyway, I tossed the crab aside and headed for the beach hut at a run. Or in more literary terms, I decrabbed and beetled off hutwise.
Oh, Sasaki. Let me look at my evidence again just to make sure I know what's going on. He's dabbing. Look at him. Kinda dabbing. My name is Stinky, and I'm here to say I emit odor in a stinky way. I keep hitting the... That's wrong.
Hold it!
Wait, by Perry, you don't mean to say... But how could that be?
No, you misunderstand. Obviously, I meant the victim and the defendant, Rei Mambami-san.
Oh, it would have been helpful if you could have just said that from the outset.
If you jump to conclusions, you have to expect to fall flat on your face sometimes.
Dear me, pinning your hopes on such an outside chance. Foolish. Very foolish. Really was an outside chance. I just wish I'd realized that before I said something silly. Oh, Inspector, why don't you tell the court about how exactly you found the aforementioned pair in the hut?
Well, it was a sorry sight, a really grisly scene. I parted the Norin curtain, hanging in the doorway, and stepped inside only to see the defendant leaning menacingly over the lifeless body of the victim sprawled on the sand. He's just standing there. Menacingly. Get out of there, SpongeBob. Thank God I don't have to voice that. My glasses very nearly cracked the ominous sight that met my eyes.
How thoroughly appalling. See you, Westford. Ugh. He doesn't appear to be lying here. Well, Sasaki-san, can you confirm what Inspector Hosonaga is saying, I wonder?
Ah, you'd like a literary man's opinion?
You know,
Maybe I'll just... don't feel like... I would like to know more information, actually. Oh, shit. Yes, they're lying, you're lying.
yeah, I didn't mean to. Oh, okay.
Objection!
That accusatory cry just, well, with that accusatory cry that just welled up from deep inside me, I think I finally understand. Every time Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san have stood here at this bench, the stakes have been very, very high indeed. What's the meaning of that menacing pose, Council? Ooh. Ooh. So happy she gets her own fee. I'm vibing a little bit. I'd like the witness to clarify something for me. Who, what, where, when, how, and why. Not you, Sasaki-san. This query is directed as Inspector Hosonaga.
At me?
In your statement just now, you said that the victim was stabbed multiple times.
Yes, that's right. As I said, when I entered the hub, the defendant was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand, like a murderous demon.
And yet, that cannot be.
What?
This is a great song. Wow.
Get to the point, please, Counsel.
In the post-mortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed one time only. Ah! In other words, Inspector Hosanaga's testimony is clearly flawed. Oh, and Soseki-san,
Me?
you claim to have seen Mbami-san in the throes of stabbing the victim. Yes, I did, wildly. Both you and the inspector confirmed the same point, that there was already blood on the knife that you saw the defendant holding. So good. So good.
Yes, and?
It's quite simple. We know the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore, there's no way there could have been blood on the knife if the single stabbing hadn't already occurred.
Ah, true. Then what exactly is your contention, Counsel? Are you ever going to tell us? Are you
Yes, Your Excellency, there's only one logical conclusion. What Soseki-san in fact saw was not the moment that the defendant stabbed the victim at all. With the moment that the defendant in fact withdrew the blade from the victim's body.
That can't be. Excellent work, Susato. You exploded them with that ejection and proceeded to pull them apart systematically.
Objection!
Well, this takes me back. Yes, I seem to remember your cousin staged a scene much like this in that trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection, attempting to steal the half-baked show from the half-baked prosecutor. I'm sorry, the full-baked prosecutor.
You're right, there were certain similarities. Except that so-called half-witted child managed to outwit the actual half-wit prosecution. with only half a head of hair.
Splendor, my hair is quite adequately dressed. In any case, all this talk of stabbing and withdrawing and multiple wounds, it makes not a jot of difference. What? Why not? Engage your brain, young man. When the accused first plunged the deadly weapon to the victim, that was the fatal blow. At that moment, just as she had withdrawn the blade ready for her next strike, what the witnesses saw, the knife was already tainted with blood because the accused had already stabbed the victim. Ah! All you have successfully shown with your little display is that the mustache author is prone to moments of extravagance.
I am in agreement with the prosecution. If the defendant was seen wielding a blade at all, that is sufficient grounds for her actions to be viewed with suspicion.
But if she was withdrawing the blade, then we are back where we started. Sorry? Consider this young yokel boy.
Yokelberg.
If this student girl is as innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim, and with a demon's cold-blooded composure too? Prosecution demands an explanation, and it had better be good. It'll be better than your hair, dude. Why did Ray pull out the knife?
Ah yes, going for the jugular. The jungular.
What does father mean by that?
Let the court hear your answer then, counsel.
Truth is, I don't really know. But I have to come up with a plausible reason here, or we don't have a case. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife out. Well, I don't understand how removing the weapon would save your life, but that's the only option that makes any amount of sense to me. According to the postmortem report, the victim's death was not instant.
Oh. That's correct. It's thought that she would have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury.
Indeed, giving her the time to take hold of this piece of evidence that clearly indicates her killer. The point is, being a medical research assistant, Menbami-san was compelled to act when faced with the wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled the blade out in an attempt to save Miss Brett's life. Sure. Did you hear that, Your Excellency? It would seem this is the best we can expect of this young yokel.
Indeed.
Is it just... Yep, I got that wrong, didn't I?
Your Excellency, if I may.
Wait, did I get it right?
Speak witness. I would like an opportunity to testify. In respect to the slipshod assertion as put forward by the Yokel Defense Counsel, I mean...
Slipshod? Yeah, an excellent idea, Inspector. Our young yokel hopefully has a modicum of knowledge when it comes to the law, it seems. But in matters of medicine, he appears to possess not one iota of common sense. At least I possess one iota of good DNA, dude.
Very well, Inspector, I will permit your request. You will testify again before the court on the subject of the defense counsel's assertion.
Now she knows it out. You say, Paper Star, how you doing?
Yes, sir. I will do so flawlessly.
Also, Naga, honey, I liked you. You can't be so mean to the yokel defense here. Okay, forensic medicine power.
Pulling a blade from a wound without thinking could cause heavy bleeding. That's basic knowledge that any medical research assistant with an ounce of sense ought to know. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. Let's not forget the young student did have a motive for killing the victim. The man the victim murdered 9 months ago, Dr. Wilson, was the defendant's highly respected mentor.
Is what you just said true, Inspector? Did pulling a knife from a wound really cause the wound to bleed heavily?
Yes. Think of the weapon itself as a stopper in the wound that prevents excessive blood loss.
Yeah, see, Franziska von Karma taught me this in like 2017, so I'm pretty good.
Until a doctor is ready to provide proper treatment, that stopper shouldn't be removed.
Oh, I see. This is why yokels should stay on the farm and what, raise you? Even a quack from some obscure mountain village would have such basic knowledge. Anyone who's ever given someone a little poke with a knife and pulled it out again knows it. I'd like to give you a little poke with a knife, you little bitch. Oh, well, I've never stabbed anyone, you see, or pulled a blade out of a wound, so...
Of course you haven't. I didn't bring you up to behave like a bandit.
Is it true what they're telling me?
Yes, it's basic remedial knowledge for medics. Ray would have been well aware of it. If she were to claim ignorance of such fundamentals, that would prove fatal in many ways.
Then why would Ray have done? Could she have pulled out the knife in full knowledge that would be fatal for Miss Brett?
I don't know.
Ray never once mentioned anything about the knife to me. Seems almost impossible to believe, but my friend actually... No.
Susato,
Yes?
pull yourself together. We mustn't lose sight of why we're here. Counsel, it's time for your cross-examination.
Oh, yes, Your Excellency.
However, I must warn you that if your cross-examination fails to identify any issue with the established facts, I will be moving to my adjudication immediately afterwards.
I understand. Believing in your clients and fighting for their cause until the bitter end. I knew it would be hard, but I had no idea it'd be this hard. Okay. This is a press thing, I'm sure. Yeah.
Hold it!
You say doing it without thinking could be a problem. Does that mean if you use due care and attention it would be alright?
I wouldn't have thought this needed spelling out really, but... Blade is like a stopper in the wound. Remove it and a serious hemorrhage will occur. In other words, a medic would need to be present before any attempt was made to withdraw the blade. Doing it without thinking would be madness. You just can't do it.
Oh, well, thank you for such a thorough explanation. You see, Counsel, when you act without thinking, the result is a bloodbath.
Ugh. Back to the witness testimony, please.
Yeah, I only know Ryotaro, so...
Hold it!
In that case, there's an obvious explanation here.
Which is...
Clearly, the defendant, Ray Mamami-san, does not possess does not possess an ounce of sense.
What do you think about that, Professor Mikoto? I'm not sure you should be labeling your best friend as lacking in common sense.
Well, I thought it'd be better than labeling her as a murderer. I don't know. Young people today, if that's friendship, I don't understand it. You've never had a friend, dude.
Careful, Counsel. A lack of common sense can be a very dangerous thing.
Oh dear, that recoiled me rather badly.
That's life, I'm afraid. A lesson everyone must learn. Hopefully you can see now that this is really basic medical knowledge. Being involved in medical research, Mamami-san would have certainly been aware of it.
Hold it!
But the defendant had suddenly encountered somebody she knew lying on the ground, bleeding to death. Yeah, I would honestly call several of my friends lacking in common sense. I'd call me lacking in common sense. The sight could have shocked her delicate sensibilities, causing her to remove the blade inadvertently.
I really don't think inadvertent actions can explain this. The woman is a medical research assistant. I can't imagine she would behave so irrationally.
Oh, irrational behavior is a woman's prerogative, isn't it? Oh my god.
Oh dear, you have a lot to learn about women.
Oh man, Hosonaga, yes. Yes. Get him.
Only a small-minded man could have such bigoted views.
Yes. Yes, feminist Hosonaga over here. Well, not quite, but like... Oh dear, perhaps I'm letting my male persona take hold a bit too much.
Well, have I managed to convey the basics now? Over the medical side of the argument. Let's not forget the,
Hold it!
Whatever the moment, it just isn't in Mamami-san's nature to do something so awful.
But she had both motive and opportunity. That's very hard to argue against.
You don't know the defendant.
Attention!
I say you don't either. And you, Counsel, do not appear to know the law.
At least I know how to look in a mirror, paint. Ouchie.
Yes, evidence is the only way to convince the court of your argument, not feelings.
X don't care about your feelings. With this fledgling to defend her, I would almost say I pity the accused. Certified freak. 7 days a week. Wet ass P-word. Make that pull-up game weak.
So do I. Yeah, points for Coffee and Glutterton indeed. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Inspector, you will reiterate your point about the defendant's motive, please.
Yes. Miss Brett was in many ways the sworn enemy of Membami's. The man, the victim, yeah.
Hold it!
Well, yes, that's true. Dr. Wilson recognized Membami-san's talent and offered her the position of assistant, despite her being a woman. He was extremely grateful to him.
Yes, the Englishman appears to have been a very broad-minded individual. Dr. Wilson had no time for outdated traditions. He met with opposition, of course, but he believed firmly in Membami-san's abilities. Clearly, the defendant was in the man's debt, which only serves to prove my point.
This is hopeless. I can't find a single crack in this testimony anywhere. If Bray knew that withdrawing the knife from the wound would threaten Miss Brett's life further, I just can't think of any way to explain why she did it.
Susato, it's at times like these when it's especially important to remember the fundamentals.
Reading is what? Fundamental.
Evidence is what counts as the courtroom, isn't it?
Of course, but I've been through the court record dozens of times already.
I think perhaps you're forgetting something, though. You needn't take the evidence at face value. You can and must examine it in greater detail.
Don't what?
I realize this is your first time playing the role of lawyer in the courtroom.
Oh. Oh, okay, yeah, no, I agree.
So if you need reminding of the rudiments, you need only ask. I'll do my very best to help. I am a doctor, but you know, it's like, whatever.
No, I know what to do. It's fine. Yes. I need to examine. Okay. I know. Oh, now we can examine this, huh? There's some sort of emblem here, look. But it isn't a UA University one.
This belongs to some other organization, I suppose. A business of some kind. But that would seem to imply that the pen doesn't in fact belong to Ray.
Cool. Oh, this is a lot of work. This must be the little reservoir that holds the ink.
Yes, you fill it by drawing ink from a bottle up through the nib.
Is something wrong, Father?
Just that there doesn't appear to actually appear to be any ink in there, that's all.
Oh yes, you're right. It's pretty much empty. Could be on the verge of running out, I suppose. The RM initials are very clearly engraved here.
And the fact that Miss Brett is clinging to this pen in her dying moments is very clearly a message to identify
her killer, you mean?
I don't think there can be any doubt that this is a key piece of evidence in this case.
Newspaper from Sasaki-san. Exclusive deadly poison stolen from. Oh god, again. Father, isn't that your lab?
What the? Let me see that. The poison's been stolen?
It's this morning's paper that Sasaki-san gave us. Are you saying you didn't know?
As embarrassing as that is for the head of the laboratory, I've not heard of any such thing. Where on earth did the reporter glean this information?
Come to think of it, there was no article mentioning the story in our paper this morning, was there?
The highly toxic poison we've been working on in the strictest confidence. I put Ray in charge of the project.
Ray, she was managing it?
If what's written here is true, it means that she tried to hide the theft from me. And moreover, the details were leaked somehow.
I don't believe it.
We need to read this article very carefully.
Raucous England returnees tell all. This is the interview with you now. It looks as though it was quite an exchange.
Yes, he became a little over-animated when he was talking about his time in England. Photograph. The photographer managed to capture the moment his hand karate chopped me on my neck.
I do hope you weren't hurt. Like a symptom of poison right here. I don't know if one of the symptoms of that poison is meiosis, or meiosis, I guess, because meiosis is something different. And that could be very important.
Hold it!
Oh shit, I didn't mean to. Here it goes again. I don't see how this is related. Kitty, indeed. Let's see here. Alright. This is the first case. I can't be stumped already. Like, I'll figure it out. It's just like, what is happening? She carries spare masks, at least, I guess. Oh. Read the article.
Objection!
It didn't even occur to me that it would show something different. One very... oh. No, there is one possibility. One very good reason why the defendant might have decided to withdraw the knife from the victim's wound. What?
The yokel not only has a poor grasp of the law, but is also a poor loser. Tell us then, what possibility do you think you've identified?
It's here, in this newspaper article. An article about a deadly poison having been stolen from a laboratory at the Imperial Yuma Unit.
Objection!
The victim perished from a stab wound. Poison has no relevance to this case.
Prosecutor Ouchie, you will let the defense speak.
But a newspaper article, the court cannot rely on the kind of hearsay those wretched publications carry.
What, did one write a bad story about you?
Counsel for the defense. I am going to need some tangible basis for your claim. You will indicate to the court precisely what part of the newspaper article mentioned affirms your assertion.
Your Excellency.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Ray would never have done something without to further endanger Miss Brett's life for that just cause. The reason why the defendant... This part right here. The article reveals the following property about the poison in question. When the toxin enters the body on a knife laced with the poison, it's rapidly absorbed and causes death in minutes.
Are you suggesting?
If the knife used to attack Miss Brett was laced with this very poison, it would explain why the defendant, Membami-san, would have withdrawn the blade as soon as possible. I called him a sim. I guess I'm that newspaper. Yes, the truth is, it was an attempt to stop the poison from entering the victim's body.
What?
Objection!
This is complete and utter nonsense.
Not at all. The defendant withdrew the knife blade from the victim's body, not to accelerate the woman's demise, but to save her life, and the prosecution cannot deny the possibility.
Have you not read the post-mortem report? The cause of death was hemorrhage.
The word poison appears nowhere in the document. Well, that's because by acting quickly to remove the blade, the defendant... No.
Objection!
Oh, please, this is clearly desperation. The weasel's last breaking of wind, something you...
I'm sure do a lot of, sir. And you know what? It smells. The whole courtroom smells because of you. You smell. I can see the flies gathering around you like Merlion toilet in Super Paper Mario, actually.
Poison has nothing to do whatsoever with this case, as I believe the defense is well aware. We have no proof that the information in this wretched newspaper article is at all reliable anyway.
In that situation, what the student should have done is wait for medical assistance to arrive. But instead, you claimed that she suspected poisoning and took the potentially lethal decision to remove the blade. You must have had a strong reason for her suspicions then, or the argument makes no sense.
Exactly, well put, Inspector. On what grounds did she do it, yokel?
Why did Ray suspect the stolen poison was involved? If you want grounds, I'll give you grounds. Coffee grounds.
You can't possibly.
From your expression, counsel, it appears those are not empty words. Naturally, as you stand in this courtroom as a lawyer, you must be aware that words alone, empty or not, are of no value in our modern justice system. The court demands evidence.
Yes, Your Excellency. I'm well aware of that. I've seen it many times, from my place at his side in the Old Bailey.
In that case, counsel, you present...
What evidence do... It's the postmortem. She had meiosis.
Take that!
I would ask the court to refer to the notes section of the postmortem report, which reads, extreme meiosis, pupil constriction was observed in the victim. Ah! Clearly, being a yokel with no knowledge of forensic science, I have no idea, so please do tell me. Presumably, the fact that this condition of the victim was noted in the postmortem report means that it's an unusual symptom of death?
Well,
under normal circumstances, the pupils dilate when someone dies. If there was an extreme constriction instead, that's most certainly unusual, yes.
What are you doing, you yokel detective? What are you doing, you yokel-ass prosecutor from the boonies and... In the newspaper article, there's the following information about the stolen poison. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death. Oh, I should have read more with.
That's just a hunch.
what?
If the defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the if the defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the back, happened to notice that the pupils of Miss Brett's eyes constricted severely. God, I love her theme.
Yes, as a medical research assistant, she would have suspected poison immediately, without doubt.
Prosecutor Ouchie, I think you'll agree this is very compelling evidence. You, yokel student and yokel professor in this yokel courtroom as I Prosecutor Ouchie be like, me? I'm a city boy. I don't have time for that country nonsense. Oh, yes, I'm such a city-loving boy, you know?
I believe the defense has clearly demonstrated a credible reason for the defendant's actions.
No.
Eugene Mikoto. Yes, Your Excellency? I believe you are best placed here to confirm or deny the veracity of the defense counsel's argument. You will tell the court the truth about the details reported in this newspaper, please. It pains me to have to admit it, but I'm afraid I don't know.
Don't know?
The toxin was kept under lock and key in my lab,
You see, the Paper Star, they were keeping it under lock and key.
but I was unaware of any theft. Do you mean to tell the court that the reports of this theft are unfounded? No, Your Excellency, without returning to the laboratory myself, I couldn't say.
Ha, listening to the bumbling academic. You want to talk. Unaware of the theft of the secret state research from his own workplace until he reads of it in the newspaper.
I take full responsibility for the incompetence of my supervision.
Pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control over your students, rather than allow them to go off on killing sprees. You should have more. That's totally unfounded. None of this is Professor Mikotoba's fault. It's all my fault. Ray, Nami-san,
You stand accused here. Outbursts like this will not be tolerated.
but it was me. I was the one who noticed the poison that we were developing had been stolen that day.
What?
So you knew? I'd been placed in charge of overseeing the project. It was the day the professor and Sozaki-san were interviewed together for the newspaper. That's when I noticed some of the poison was missing. Just a tiny amount.
Why didn't you let me know immediately?
I was scared. The whole project was supposed to be confidential. Some of the toxin and some had been taken. So I decided I'd try to get it back before anyone else found out. Because I had a very good idea who the thief was. Thief? You don't mean... Yes, of course. It was that dainty Englishwoman.
Miss Giselle Brett?
That's why I decided to join the little group of people going to the seaside. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on a stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as if she knew she was untouchable. I know it was you who stole the poison. Well now, what do you mean? And then, she suddenly got to her feet, before falling to her knees in front of me and then collapsing on the floor. That's when I saw the knife in her back. I couldn't understand what just happened. And then, a moment later, I was seized with fear. The pupils of her eyes they shrunk to tiny pinpoints.
I don't believe it. In other words, you realized the victim was suffering from the effects of the stolen poison.
My mind started racing. I hadn't seen anything past Miss Brett's lips whilst I'd been with her. Which left only one possible way for the poison to have entered her body. A blade and a knife there. And
that train of thought was what spurred you to withdraw the blade.
yes, if the amount that had entered her bloodstream was small enough, she might still have a chance. That's what I'd hoped. Really, I'm so sorry for staying silent all this time.
Your attempt to hide the truth of what happened is something that can be overlooked. However, is not something to be overlooked. However, I would duly note the courage with which you confessed in the end.
Thank you, Your Excellency. It's barely perceptible, but I do think the balance has shifted a little here in this courtroom now. Even though I can't see the scales of justice, I can imagine them.
Objection!
Your Excellency, do not be deceived. The victim just collapsed before your eyes, you say, like someone would when they see me and my ugly face. Well, Menbami-san, if that is the case, perhaps you could explain how Miss Brett came to be stabbed? Well, you have no answer because the simple truth is that you stabbed the victim motivated by revenge.
Objection!
But you have no conclusive evidence to prove that assertion, do you?
Oh, I have evidence, and it is very much conclusive.
What do you have? What's the prosecution counsel up to? It was brief, but he hesitated for a moment there. I'm almost sure of it. Like he doesn't want to produce the evidence. We'll produce the aforementioned evidence at once, Prosecutor Archie.
Perhaps some praise is due, young yokel student.
What?
I had imagined there would be no need for me to submit this evidence. But you brought this on yourself.
Oh, look, her face. What the?
Could a more damning shot exist? The cruelty in the air on that beach is almost palpable.
Now, what the hell? Who did this? Also, is it not possible that whoever took that picture stabbed her through the same frickin' hole?
This evidence, more than any other, reveals the true extent of the accused's murderous nature, for it shows the precise moment that Menbami-san plunged her dagger into the victim's back.
No, that's not true. No. I don't believe it. Damn. Also, Naga kind of got, like, you can definitely see the definition in the butt there. Order. Counsel for the defense, was it you who was responsible for that shrill scream that just pierced my courtroom?
Perhaps his voice has yet to break. These yokels are slow of mind and slow to mature.
What an ass. You're slow to mature. Did I say slow of nature? I meant slow to mature. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll show you who's slow to mature. Careful now. Susanto is starting to show her face here. It's often said that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and here we have ample proof. The court will accept this extremely cogent photographic print as evidence. If this was really as incriminating as Ouchie said, it would have been presented from the beginning, so there's something wrong with it. Such a stark image. I'm genuinely lost for words. Wait a minute, I don't understand. How did you, who took that photograph?
Objection!
It's of no importance here. Stop trying to divert attention.
Objection!
That's an absurd thing to say. It's crucially important. Whoever took this photographic print was a witness to Miss Brett's death. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony. I will uphold the defense's demand. The prosecution will reveal the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph at once.
Well, I'm afraid I can't do that.
Pardon?
You see, the print arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday, but there was nothing to indicate the sender's name or address. The provenance of the print is unknown.
Goodness. Are we to understand then, counsel, that in full knowledge of the fact that this photograph has the murkiest of origins, you nevertheless believed it fit for submission as evidence in the Supreme Court? When you first produced that print before, I noticed that you hesitated for a brief moment, because you knew that it wasn't completely reliable evidence, didn't you?
Silence, you yokel student and blabbering professor. What matters is the blatant truth that this print so eloquently expresses. That the defendant has already admitted to pulling the blade from the wound.
Clearly, this isn't the moment that the knife was plunged into the victim's back, but objection?
The moment it was withdrawn.
Don't waste the court's time with your ramblings. Indeed, without knowledge of who presents this print, we have no means of verifying the claim. And the scene it captures is without doubt the most compelling evidence presented to the court. If the defense is unable to shed any further light on the matter, I believe the conclusion is clear.
Oh no.
Susato, this is the time for you to fight. If what you've established so far is true, then there can be no doubt. This photograph shows the moment that Ray withdrew the blade from the victim.
Guess we just need to prove that somehow.
Sure. You'll have plenty of time to rue your defeat on the slow train back to the provinces. And to rue the day you came against Taketsuchi Aochi in a court of law.
Oh lord. If I can't determine who took this photograph, then the trial's going to come to an end. There must be a clue somewhere. There must be some way of working out who took it.
Well, Counsel.
Your Excellency? Burning question is who took that photograph, and the truth is...
I don't know, it's not any of these people, I don't think.
She didn't take the picture herself. There weren't any automatic cameras at the time. He was in the water. Unless it was you, Sozeki. This isn't about whether I can or can't come up with the answer now. I simply have to. The identity of the person who took this dramatic photographic print is, I assure you, something the defense can and will reveal. What? No, you can't possibly. But, as you so boldly claim that you can, please do enlighten us. Unfortunately, I'm unable to present. Oh, okay, God. How utterly underwhelming. Did you believe you could? However, I am able to present evidence. The evidence is the defense is a piece of evidence that reveals important details about the photographer's identity. What? What?
Very well then, Counsel, present your proof to the court. What piece of evidence do you claim reveals something about the identity of the
It's a pen. Not Ray's pen.
Take that!
The piece of evidence in question oh, it's not this. I tried. Could be this picture itself. I don't know. I don't know what else it could be unless it's... Wait, is it another picture here? Where did this come from? Where did this pic... Where did they find that hole? Neat. Okay, so I'm just gonna hold on. Let me just real quick hit him with that save there, you know. I think I can safely save over this file, right? That's okay. Yeah, I'll save over it. I can't imagine one other reason why I wouldn't do that.
Take that!
Oh, no. I presented the wrong photo, didn't I? Oh, whoops.
I don't know what in this photo would tell me who who it is, but where was this picture taken? Is it taken from the dress?
Take that!
Nope. Oh, it's gonna be one of those nights. It's a Sunday, everybody. I'm confused. I think I missed something. Let me game over. And then I'll ask for a hint. I want to think about it a little more and see, like... It wasn't this, it wasn't this, it wasn't this. So I have 3 things it could be. This is the only thing that... Oh.
Take that!
Nope, it's not that. Okay. Wait a minute. Let me see something. Ah! That's so cool! I figured it out at the last second. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's actually really cool. That's a really good thing. That's cool. I love that. It's not the headline that's relevant here, Your Excellency. It's a photograph. Look at this photograph! You look at it closely, you'll notice that there are some white lines on the right-hand side. Ah, yes indeed. They already caught my eye, as it happens to know they hadn't. Ah, what of it? A shadow of some kind, presumably. From the branch of a tree, or like, yeah, white shadows, okay. There are no trees growing inside my laboratory at the university, I can assure you. Now, if you look closely at this photograph... Good gracious. Yes, exactly the same pattern of lines is present on this photograph, too.
Objection!
Well, that tells us nothing. Ah, yes, it's a shadow of some kind, definitely, from the branch of a tree. There wouldn't be any trees growing inside a hut at the beach, Council. What's quite remarkable now is that the 2 patterns are absolutely identical. How could such an extraordinary similarity have transpired? A curious pattern that... defect... It's a crack, right? Obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera used to take the photographs. With the photographic device?
Yes, we can confidently say that the camera's lens must be scratched. And that scratched lens causes unwanted lines to appear on every print taken with the device.
In short, the 2 photographs under consideration here were taken with the same camera. But... There must be hundreds of such camera devices here in the capital. It would be utterly impossible to identify the owner of this particular one.
Objection!
I think you're forgetting, Prosecutor Ouchie, that one of the photographs featured in a newspaper article. A newspaper? Ah! That's right. The author of that article is the mystery witness to this crime. What? Oh, he didn't do it.
I see why you were called a raucous England returnee.
What are you yelling about? You've already testified.
It's many memo, I tell you. It's many memo, I tell you. Many memo. Meh. Ni memo. Many memo.
Soseki-san, what was that? Did you say mini memo? Mini memo? Mini memo.
Ever since I returned to Japan, a reporter from the Shoyu News has been hounding me, following my every move. A reporter by the name of Raiten Many Memo.
Oh, okay, right in many memo.
Yes, hounding from dawn till dusk.
Ah, now that he mentions it.
They secretly spy, snapshots, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy.
Oh.
Camera to the left of him, a notebook to the right. It's Spark Brushel. There I am, stuck in the middle with Raiten Many Memo.
So you're saying that this picture was taken by...
By Many Memo, yes, my lord, your excellency, Esquire.
I like Spark Brushel, actually, honestly. Like, he's designed to be, like, awful, like, to look at, but he's, like, probably the best witness the game's had.
Find this newspaper reporter at once and bring him to my courtroom. We will adjourn for a short recess in the meantime.
Oh, yes, Your Excellency. As you say, Your Excellency.
And one more thing. I want this knife, the murder weapon, examined for traces of poison. We will solicit the assistance of the Imperial University's medical department for the task. Understood?
Meh. Mini memo. Right, it's a to be continued, and you know what that means? We're actually exactly at 2 hours, so I think I am going to... Oh, a new jingle! Look at that, that was cute. So I am going to take, you know, a quick break, and we will resume the courtroom proceedings in about 10 minutes, maybe? Sound good, y'all? I honestly almost forgot about Wesley Stickler. But yeah, so court will resume in 10 minutes. So I will catch you guys in that time. Go get a drink, go to the bathroom, whatever you need, go get a snack. And see you in a bit.